Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. If this is your first time checking out a video, please don't forget to subscribe. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. We're watching a clip of First Take with Stephen A. and Shannon Sharpe talking about the Steph versus Sabrina. I guess they're saying that they think it was the highlight of the weekend. I have some pretty strong thoughts on this one. I want to hear what they have to say first, and then we can go from there. So let's get into it.
I got a quick take for you. Let's get it here. So Steph Curry edged Sabrina Ionescu 29-26 in an NBA versus WNBA three-point contest Saturday night. Ionescu's 26-point total would have tied the highest score by any NBA player in the three-point contest, won by Damian Lillard. S.A., is it fair to say this was the highlight of All-Star Weekend?
Yes, it was. I believe it was. I mean, I thought Damian Lillard winning the three-point shooting contest, it was really good. It was really good. I give them a lot of credit. Halliburton went out there and competed along with others. Major props. My man Jalen Brunson was there as well. Congrats to him. But Damian Lillard showed up, showed out, and defended his crown. Major props to him. But this was the best event of All-Star Weekend. Make no mistake about it. They treated it with the level of royalty, for lack of a better word, that it deserved, because nobody in basketball is going to dispute. There's not a single NBA player that would tell you when you got that, the championship belt or whatever, when it comes to shooting the basketball, there is nobody, including Damian Lillard, who would tell you they deserve it over Steph Curry. They know who the greatest shooter of all time is. And Ionescu, in her defense, shows up on behalf of the ladies and showed out, shot the ball really well.
Yes.
Give her credit where credit is due. She was exceptional, no doubt about it, okay? But Steph Curry showed up and reminded everybody who the hell he is. And he is something to behold, and it was nice to see it. And I give Sabrina all the credit in the world, because we saw what Steph did. But on that stage, she showed up and showed what she could do as well. And most men she would have beaten. She just happened to be going against the greatest of all time.
Yes.
And it was a lot of fun.
It was
Maybe that's something. And you know what, Stephen A. and Molly, maybe that's something they add to the All-Star. You take the 2 or 3 best women shooters in the WNBA, and you put them against a Steph Curry. You put them against a Dame Lillard. You put them against the 2 or 3 best shooters in the NBA, and hey, let's see what happens. But I thought she acquitted herself very well. I thought she showed very well for the women's game, because, Stephen A. Molly, had she shot the ball from WNBA, they're going to like, well, she should have did that well. Look how close she's shooting the basketball.
NBA
but
range.
she shot from NBA range, and hats off to her. She didn't win, but she should.
Okay. I've been thinking about how I wanted to address this, because especially if you didn't watch my other video with Caitlin Clark, I am very positive on women's sports, and I want to see them succeed. And especially when you have young girls in your life, which I do, it's a very beautiful thing to see, and I want to see it be elevated and thrive and all of that. 1000%. No ifs, ands, or buts. With that said, can we settle down here? Okay? Can we all take a big, deep breath? Okay? There's a few things that I really want to address here. One, if you're a fan of the NBA, you're there to see the NBA. You're there to see Steph Curry go up against Damian Lillard, not Steph Curry go up against a WNBA player. That's just the reality. Okay? So this idea that this is the highlight of the weekend, maybe that's the case because the weekend was just so bad. But this idea that that's actually interesting, it's just not. And they're trying so hard to make it something. Okay? And it's not. Who would you rather see in a three-point contest? Damian Lillard versus Steph Curry versus, Klay Thompson? That's who I want to see. Or like an old school shootout with like Ray Allen and Reggie Miller and Steph Curry or something. Yeah, right. You want to see NBA players, NBA greats, both past and present. So this idea that this is what the people want to see, no. That's number one. Number two, she shot very well. She's an unbelievable basketball player. There's no disputing that. Not hating that. She's probably a better basketball player than me. And when I say probably, most definitely, right? She's in the WNBA and I'm not. But she did use a WNBA size basketball, which is smaller. which matters so much, okay? I played basketball very competitively, and I used to also ref. And I used to ref both men's and women's, girls and boys, okay? And this one league that I used to ref for, this was like the one league that I would ref for was like very casual, chill. It was like at a gym. It was very competitive because boy did they treat it competitively. But sometimes they didn't have enough players, and so sometimes as a ref, like you would have to jump in because it was like a more like pickup style, at least for this specific league I'm talking about. And so for the women, they wouldn't always have enough, and so sometimes I would jump in. And these are grown women who are like in their 20s, early 30s. And for this specific league, I was like 17 years old, 18 years old, and I would destroy them. And at that age, you don't really there was no holding back. I'm like a 17-year-old boy. I'm like trying to play, and they're trying to play real hard, right? I'm not like, I should go easy on them. Like, no. And playing with that ball, the women's ball, I just remember thinking, oh my God, if this was, I would be the most amazing player ever if this is all I got to play with. I mean, it was just so small. The control you had of it, shooting, I mean, it was just effortless. It was effortless. I just didn't miss. You're shooting like 80%. It matters. There's a reason why even in the WNBA they play with a smaller ball. And I saw a lot of people talking about, well, they have smaller hands. Guys, that's not really the reason why. First off, what's her face? Sabrina's 5'11". Steph Curry's like 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" tops or something. Right? So like how much bigger do you think Steph Curry's hands are? That's I don't want to say number one because we're already on like number 2 or 3, but that doesn't really make sense. And also LeBron James is like 6'8" or whatever, right? Way taller than Allen Iverson, way taller than, Steph Curry. So do they use different size balls? So this idea that it's the hand size makes no sense. And further proof of that, when you're like 11, 12 years old, a boy, you use a full NBA size ball. You use a full NBA size ball before you even hit high school. Okay? You are way smaller than the women in the WNBA. Outside of a couple of those leagues where obviously they're really balling out and they're already, 6'9". But I'm saying for mere mortals, or even people who are one day going to be pros, they're just not there yet. When they're 11, 12, 13, 14, you play with the full size basketball, a full NBA size ball. So this idea that it's hand size and that's why they're doing it, so it's proportionately equal. No, it's not. That's not how it works. Again, under that logic, then, Kevin Durant should use a bigger ball than Steph Curry. But he doesn't. So it's just silly. So, and again, I think what she did was awesome and impressive, but when they make statements like, oh, she would have beaten other players, no, she would have not. They used a different size ball. And it was cool that she shot from the men's three-point line. Definitely kudos to her. And I don't want this to come off like I am calling out Sabrina or anything, because it's not her fault. I think what she did was awesome and really great and really cool. I mean, I really, really do. And I want to see someone like Sabrina absolutely succeed. I really, really do. I'm not trying to hate on her and just try to go off on a rant and say women's sports sucks. That's not the point of this. But to act like it's equal, it's not. To act like this is what we should be leaning into for the All-Star weekend and stuff, it's just not. It's just not true. There's a difference between men's and women's sports, and that's okay. We can celebrate and elevate women's sports without trying to either pull down men's sports or to try to act like they're equal, because they're just not. That's just the reality of the situation. It's something like, I forget, but men's high school track are literally faster than Olympic women's athletes, track and field. I mean, it's just outrageous. You have something like, high school teams can beat women's national teams, right? I think they literally scrimmaged. My dad in an old man's league, okay, when he was in his 60s at this point, or 50s, played basketball against this, or baseball against this elite women's team, who were in their prime. They're this international team. They were in their 20s or 30s, and I got to ask him, why they did this, and they destroyed them. This is men who are in their 50s who can barely run down the bases. Their knees are all wobbly. I mean, they destroyed them. There's just a difference. And again, I want to see women succeed so badly. I want to see girl sports succeed so badly. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And there's a lot of equality in other aspects of life. Intelligence, hard work, mathematics, all this type of stuff, right? This is not coming from a guy who's like, men are just better than women at everything. Not at all. When I'm playing with my little niece and she wants to, pretend, when I tore my meniscus, I was on crutches and she wanted to be, play pretend like we're in a hospital, and she acted like she was like, I'm the nurse, the doctor will be in there with you, and I immediately was like, hey, you don't have to be a nurse. Why don't you be the doctor? And she actually got mad at me. She goes, I don't want to be the doctor. I want to be the nurse. And it's like, fine, but you could be the doctor too. So believe me, I'm all about, again, anyone who has little girls in their life knows, like you're all about trying to elevate them, and it's really awesome and beautiful and really just a great journey to be on. But we don't have to bring down men's to do so. So that's the issue that I take with. And then this idea that that's what we should do now is just get like the best WNBA players going up against the men's, and like that's what people want to see for the All-Star weekend. No, we do not. What would have been way more interesting would have been seeing Damian Lillard go up against Steph Curry. That's what we want to see. I mean, my God. Or do it where like you move the 3-point line even farther back for like some sort of other intense competition. Not half court, because that's just like too luck, but you do the more like logo-y type threes and make it more interesting. Like that's way more interesting than just watching Sabrina go up against Steph. So that's the way I see it. Again, hopefully you guys can understand what I'm trying to get at. I think the WNBA and Sabrina and elevating that game is its own journey, separate from the NBA, okay? And they keep trying to combine it. They keep trying to shove it down people's throats, and to think that the average NBA fan wants to watch more women playing in NBA events, you are mistaken. You are confused, okay? You are confused. Not to mention, if there really is any type of competition, if there really is any type of actual true competition between the two, where one can compete with the other and it actually be a fair fight, take the 5 best WNBA players in the league, okay, they're 5 All-Stars, and take the 5 worst, all the people that are on the 9th and 10th, part of the bench, the ones who barely ever play, the ones who don't even play when the score is 100 to 150 and there's 10 seconds left. The guys that don't even get in the game in that moment. Go have them play a game and let's see what the score is. See if it's even remotely competitive. The answer is it would not. The men would win like 50 plus points, quite honestly. Maybe even more. It's like really hard to gauge, honestly, because they're just bigger, faster, stronger. Just the reality. And no one wants to see that. No one wants to see that. So I don't know what the solution is to continue to try to elevate women's sports in the WNBA specifically. I don't know if this is it. If you want to, like, I don't know, do it during the WNBA All-Star weekend and those events and bring like a Steph Curry in, I can see that. But doing it this way, I don't know. It's just silly. Because, right, if Steph just missed a couple more threes and then Sabrina ended up winning, everyone's going to say that Sabrina's better than Steph. First off, that's obviously not true. And second off, you're going to annoy a lot of men who hear that. A lot of fans, even women, they're going to be like, that's not true. Like, you're just gaslighting fans, both men and women for that regard. So those are my thoughts on this one. Hopefully it all made sense. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you think? Was this the highlight? Do you think Sabrina's just can compete with Steph and it has nothing to do with the size of the ball or this or that? Please let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing, please, let me know in the comments. If you think what I'm saying is the most amazing thing, then definitely please let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. As I said, we are building an amazing community here, and I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. Thank you so much, and see you next time.